Hello, it's Connie from Prosperity Finance. How are you doing? I hope you're keeping well. Now, early this month, you probably heard that Auckland Council has released the latest property valuation. A lot of property had significant increase in value. After that, we had kind of a lot of inquiries from the homeowners asking if their increased equity can help them to borrow. So today I thought it's a good opportunity to share my view on this platform and let you know my thoughts around that. Before we start, let's quick recap. What is the council value? Sometimes called CV or RV, stand for rateable value. It's the same thing. So government valuation is carried out every 3 years to assess the property value in bulk. It's very different from professional valuer, their valuation methodology, where they actually go to your property and carry out very detailed inspection. Now, last time when I had my valuation done, I remember the valuer even had to open my wardrobe and drawers just to see what the conditions like. And then they will compare my property with recent transactions in my area, and also to take into account the conditions of other property and give more up-to-date view on the property value. Whereas the government valuation is done in bulk with a commercial kind of valuation methodology. So it's not really a true reflection of the market value. The latest valuation is actually just an indicative value to reflect the selling price if your property was sold in June last year. It just took them another 9 months to get the data ready to be released. So that's the nutshell. And as you probably know, the primary reason to get updated is to review the council rates so that we pay, fairly based on the property value. But does it really mean anything to our finance? Yes or no? It really depends your situation and what you want to do. Generally speaking, the CV doesn't really add much value to your finance. Yes, on one hand, it probably boosts your equity, but bank doesn't really use CV alone to determine the property value. There's also other valuation methodology, such as the estimate value or EV that bank use, similar to what you see in your mobile banking. If you have a home loan, you will see the bank actually show you how much your property worth. It's very similar to that, but that's not exactly value the bank use for your property. It has to take into account the recent sales, but it doesn't compare the conditions of your property versus your neighbor's property. They also use the purchase price and register valuation, which is the paid valuation I explained earlier. So they have about 4 or 5 methodology that the bank use to determine the security value. CV, in fact, is actually the least reliable value the bank use. If they have register valuation, they will use register valuation. If they have the EV, they use the EV. CV is only used in case the EV is not available and you don't really want to pay to get the register valuation done. So it's only applicable for a smaller group. Normally, when the EV is not available is if your property is not a standard property, such as a home income property, or there's very few transactions in the recent months, so they can't really, the computer doesn't really generate the comparables really well, so they will say it's not available, then you can use a CV. But normally banks do not use a CV if the loan to value ratio is high. They want to make sure they rely on the value, the security value, so they will make sure they get the most, up-to-date valuation. So most likely will require register valuation if you borrow at high LVR or loan to value ratio. So CV is very rarely being used by lenders anyway. And on the other hand, bank also consider your servicing ability, which is more important than the equity, especially after the CCCFA was updated late last year. It's very important that the bank is a responsible lender, which means they have to make sure you can afford the loan, you can service the loan under the normal circumstances. They not rely on the security alone to lend your money. Plus, if you increase your CV value, it also increase the council rates fee, which is at the moment will have a negative impact on your servicing because they add that expense to your living expense. So unless your servicing is really, really strong and your property is non-standard property and you don't really want to pay for the reduced valuation, I don't really think a higher CV is a benefit you. So in most cases, you probably do not need to argue with the council to get a higher CV and at the same time save you some extra cost. So generally speaking, for finance purpose, CV is less relevant. So you don't need to negotiate with the council to update to a higher value. However, if you're going to sell the property in the near future, maybe get the CV updated because some of your buyers may want to compare their offer with the CV. So they can say the CV is very low, I don't really want to pay more. So if it's in the buyer's market, you will be have less power if your CV is low. So maybe worthwhile getting the CV to the higher value if you can, but for finance, probably not. So that's just my view. But of course, this is a general kind of statement. If you want to get personalized advice, it's best to get in touch with us. We're more than happy to do a free review for you and give us our advice based on your situation and goals. Okay, that's all from me today. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.